Hi, my name's Melanie Nerish. I work at the Center for Education Through Exploration, and I like to go through my experience of using a storyboard so I can hopefully give you some tips and also help you think about the fact that the storyboard is not as solid as it seems, but its purpose in guiding is absolutely solid. So, the life of a storyboard, when we think of what the goal is that we make a storyboard to plan out everything else. It's our roadmap. So you make it first and then you follow the roadmap. You complete the template or whatever thing that you want to use. And then you don't need to do anything else to the storyboard. You just have to go collect the resources and talk to the people, go to the place, get the pictures, etc. But it's all laid out on your beautiful map that is the storyboard. Unfortunately, the reality is that the storyboard has lots of adjustments along the process. And actually, this isn't an unfortunate, I take that back. This is something that makes the storyboard a living thing. And you'll find that your final storyboard will be much richer than the original one that you came up with. And that was the experience that I had. So what we're going to do first is talk about this template and work through, and I'll share with you my personal example, which I'd like to point out is not like your situation. Every time somebody makes a VFT, they have different restraints. In this case, I had a small group of individuals and we were working together for a VFT for a course, and we were all educators. So our initial idea, this was the big idea, X million years in a drawer. We didn't know how many years, but we're like, we want to do something with fossils. That would be great. So something with a museum maybe, and I don't know. It was conceptual. And so this was before the storyboard, where we knew we wanted to teach certain concepts. We want to talk about fossils and how, what they are. But it wasn't a VFT, it was just an idea. So we went through and completed a storyboard template. Now, I'm going to go through the template that you will be getting. And this template is the same thing that Joe presented on, but he gave context and fleshed out the slides with examples. So I really encourage you to go back through Joe's presentation. You can even pause it at different points as you're filling out this template, and it will be great guidance. So for this template, I'm just going to show you the nitty-gritties of how to use it, not what to put in it at the moment. That was Joe's presentation. So we'll even put a link to that information here. So what you'll be doing is, this box right here, you'd even delete this entire box after you're done, since it has instructions. And anywhere there's brackets, you replace those brackets with the content that you will be presenting or planning with. So for instance, if there are questions, there are brackets here, replace the brackets with your response. And so I'll just scooch through these. You can see all these response sections. Oh, it's to the right, a little bit mixing it up. Here you can even do brainstorming with visuals. When you're brainstorming with visuals, you can use basic shapes from the slides. You can use text boxes, copy and paste images. You can even sketch it out, take a picture with your camera, and then pop it right in there. And then when we get to these scenes, this is something that's a little bit different than in Joe's presentation because we didn't have the repetition of all the different scenes. So you can see this is scene 1. You would do the same idea, get a general idea of the visual, and then you can use these for the information points, and you would just drag them on to wherever the information points are. And the next slide, you get to talk about those information points. Then notice this is scene 1. The exact same slide comes up, but now it's scene 2. So whatever your second scene is, then scene 3, and your third information points. If you want to have a scene 4 or more, you just copy those slides as many times as you need. And so after that, you have your assessing. You can write down, there's no brackets here, just fill it out with your thoughts. And you will have your storyboard. Huzzah! And then you're going to be able to present your storyboard in this class. This slide is not for my presentation, so don't pull it out for me. It is not for when you finish the template. It's when you present your template and you're getting feedback from other folks. So that way they'll go to this website. You will replace, because there are brackets, your name and your VFT title, and that way we can get that information back to you. Okay. Now, this template, I wanted to just share that there's other ways to do this. We're using this template because it's really easy to share out. It's easy to present in this online environment. But you can also do a lot of different things to make a storyboard. We use this old school thing called paper. And it was really nice because we could cross things out and we were sitting together around a table. You can use, then we actually took what was on there and just put it on a Google Doc. And that way we can change things asynchronously. I've seen people do this with Post-it notes, whiteboards. My personal example, we had the concept after we did the storyboard, realizing, oh, we don't have ideas even for locations. We don't have anything besides almost a learning objective of fossils. But by filling out the storyboard, we came up with this new title, From the Earth to the Museum, A Fossil's Journey. So the idea was we would follow a fossil. It wasn't just fossils in a drawer. It was, okay, we're going to take this one fossil and we're going to go to the dig site, and then we're going to go to the location where the research is, and then we'll go to display. So we had 3 scenes. Perfect. We were good to go. Everything was fine. And we were at that happy point. They're going, the storyboard doesn't need to change. We're solid for everything else. So the rest of this talk, let's look into this whole using the storyboard business. So the first thing we had to do is figure out the particulars for location, because depending on what you're doing, you can do this entirely online and digital. But if you can get on site, man, it really does make a difference. So we're looking, what places can we go? And in the Biological Knowledge Integration Center is an amazing resource over by ASU. We heard there were fossils in the basement at ASU. This is all word of mouth. We're just beginning. Payson has some dig sites for fossils. The Arizona Museum of Natural History was an obvious option. And then also the petrified forest. We're looking for fossils that are really right out there in the open. And we're going, man, we could definitely get a ranger or somebody to talk to out there. But then you have to think about what's feasible. We couldn't make it out to petrified forest. It was too far away, and we just didn't have the ability at that time. And also, who do you know? And so all these options are really interesting, but after talking about it and figuring out the logistics, the reality, we realized that the Arizona Museum of Natural History was our main site. So what we did was then we went to the museum and did some reconnaissance. We took just some video, we interviewed some folks, just some photos. You know, it was all very unofficial, so that way we could figure out the exact details of what we were going to do. We went back and evolved our storyboard. If you take a look here, I put it over to the left, our revision changes on our Google Doc that was where we recorded our storyboard. And this concept of, okay, now we're only at the Arizona Museum of Natural History, we needed to change things because we weren't going to go to these other sites. So we couldn't fold in the petrified forest. So we needed to update, and it was still generally the same concept. We're going to follow fossil. But now our logistics are getting a little bit more specific, and so our information points are becoming more accurate. So I highlighted on this, though, go back and evolve, because the storyboard is something you go back to. It is an anchor, but it also changes. And here we are changing little tiny details. Not much was evolved in it, if you will. We went back and we're going, okay, just remember, this is what our overall goal is. This is what we're trying to do. So then one of the things we came away with from the museum is we got to schedule a time to go on a dig, which was a dream come true for me. I've always wanted to be at a dig site, an active dig site. So we had it scheduled. They only had one time they were going to be going out. It was weeks ahead. We planned it. We were going, okay, this is going to be great. And then it was raining and we had to cancel the trip, which was really unfortunate because we were on a little bit of a timeline, but they scheduled out another dig 3 weeks ahead of time, going, okay, this will be it. And right before, actually just a couple days before, Arizona was basically shut down. And suddenly, the dig site entire scene was axed. We needed to go back and evolve the storyboard. And this time we really had to change it because we weren't doing from the Earth to the museum. The Earth got kicked out. So we had to figure out something new. And this is where we went with the media. Fortunately, because of our B-roll, the reconnaissance footage, we had some on-site footage and things to use. So our B-roll became the A-roll. Things with this VFT, if you look on the Google Tour Creator, you can add narratives. I have a Google Pixel. It's even a Google product. And when I used its recorder, that audio file did not sync with the Tour Creator. So I had to download an MP3 recorder, which was really easy to do. So if you want to do that, go for it. Just do a search for MP3 recorder. And then I was able to upload narration. It's so special to hear somebody's voice. So if you can't do video and can have a narration, that's a really great opportunity. You can even have the text that you have written below, saying it out loud. Not only does it increase accessibility, but it adds more meaning and more feeling to that place-based education, especially if you can give that narration from somebody that's at that place. So interviews are a great resource and they really make a VFT come alive. And through interviews, that really saved us with a lot of images because we had an entire scene that we had no idea what to do with now. We could do the research lab because we had already gotten some things from that. We took information from at the museum, so the exhibits in process. But this third one, we found out, oh, the museum has an exhibition in development. And so we turned that third scene into how do you take that information and put it into a visual format, and interviewed a paleo artist. And we did that all through Zoom, and we even used Instagram photos. He let us use photos from his Instagram of the development of the exhibition in process. So when you're thinking about images, there's a ton of ways that you can get them. You can make them. There's a lot of public domain images. If you go and reach out, though, to almost any of these sites, people will have images and would be very happy to share them. We had more images than we could even use in the end because so many people were excited and became part of this process. It really became a community project. So we had to go back and majorly evolve the storyboard. I'd like to point out that these dates have been scrolling. So there's a lot of changes, and I know that your VFT is not going to be over that same time period, but it will change. Started with the general bones in a drawer, well, fossils in a drawer, excuse me. Then from Earth to the Museum, a Fossils Journey, and then the final concept became Behind the Bones, the Story of a Museum. So interestingly enough, we had this concept of going, this is so hard, and we had all these multiple places and we made it really complicated. In the end, the place is what saved us. The place and the people. So I hope with your adventure, you're going to have the emotional life, this emotional life. I imagine. This is the one I went through, and I don't need to use emojis because I have Jazz, my cat. So you're going to start feeling really solid. And then start going, wait a minute, I don't know if this logistically is going to work as I had planned. You'll feel like you've boxed yourself into a corner. Then you will think and brainstorm and think and brainstorm and come up with really innovative ways to make your VFT work. And sometimes you'll just want to scream, and that's okay. But in the end, you're going to have something that you've created that you can share with other people so they get to have this really great experience. And the best part of this whole experience is actually it changed me. And I really hope that you can immerse yourself in the place. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, let us know.